being who are loved by the Supreme Being Lord Krishna. Today, it is the second symposium in the year 2022. Health, Hinduism, education, learning, and prosperity is an endeavor being emerged from the core belief of Bhagavad Gita Research Foundation in order to spread the essence of the research and spirituality platform Bhagavad Gita Research Foundation. Sri Nityananda Chakraborty, President of Sri Gita Sangha Bangladesh, who is the main facilitator today, is a legend and spiritual tutor whose profile cannot be bounded by a few lines. It is huge. Health being held after 2 months. The upcoming symposium will be held in 26th of June, and that will be facilitated by Dhruvo Chatralia. Now, I would like to hand over the virtual floor to Dr. P.R. Dotto, Head of Research, Bhagavad Gita Research Foundation. Dr. Dotto, now the floor is yours. Namaskar.
Thank you, Dada. Thank you, Dada. Very good morning, namaste, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm sure that you all are keeping well. It's a very fresh, bright, and sunny morning here in London. I'm sure that all other parts of the world is maybe the same situation, heading towards the summer. Namaste. Very good morning. We all are facing a difficult situation nowadays. I'm sure that the heart of Europe is now in chaotic situation, most hostile and chaotic situation we are in. I think how it can be settled down within us when our external environment is conditioning us the way we should act or react the environment. The today's symposium part of health series, as it is April 24th of April, and the second, as Mr. Das Santosh stated, and is going to be presented by Nityananda Chakraborty. What I can say about him is a bit difficult, but also as my duty to read out some of the salient points of his profile. He started as a college lecturer in economics between 1969 to 1976, and then joined Bangladesh Water Development Board as an economist and served for 27 years in different capacities and retired as Joint Chief Planning of the organization in 2003. Since then, he has been serving a national consultant economist till date for the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and the government of Bangladesh, and for many others international consulting houses. He has been elected as the president of Bangladesh Gita Sangha since 2010, dedicated for the preaching the teachings of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and practicing those through its more than 400 branches across the country, and it has more than 600 schools around Bangladesh. A great orator, poet, writer, international speaker, and a great thinker who published extensively, including some of his intellectually stimulating books, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Sanatani Kalpo, Amar Chelebela, and Budayanta Param Param, and the latest book, the Rabindra Bhavna, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. His intellectual contribution highly appreciated in both sides of Atlantic, especially among Bengalis. Recently, Bangladesh, I think the last 2 years back, Bangladesh government under Minister of Religion has published 30,000 copies of his book, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, to distribute various educational institutions around Bangladesh. So, further, today's main theme, which is going to look at, as you know, that the health is Hinduism, education, learning, and is prosperity. What a great meaning of this. We all are looking at a different way, growth and development, and this is the very well resonated with the topic today. The main discourse is the knowledge and work in Gita is synthesis and significance. What it entails, the main focus for today's discussion to see how the Gita can help the growth of the God in human beings. And I'm sure that you understand what we need to understand in the most chaotic, volatile, uncertain, and ambiguous world. I now invite Nityananda Chakraborty. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And my heartfelt respect to the president of Bgrf and my admiration to the chair, research director of Bgrf, Dr. P.R. Datto. Had I been allowed to say something about their life sketch, it would be impossible for me to place them in 2 or 1 minute. Therefore, I don't dare to do that. Their life sketch, their activities, their academic achievements have been much more than what I have. Therefore, it was quite a small thing that Dr. Datto uttered about me, about my introduction. Therefore, I don't like to lose much time.
That was just 1 minute. If I interrupt you, you have maximum 45 minutes to discuss, followed by 30 minutes question and answer time. And the whole program, if you allow us, will be now live streaming. So I'm going to start live streaming now via Facebook. Please share. And if you don't need to speak, please make sure, very kindly and humbly request you to mute yourself and make sure that is either mute your mobile so that you don't have any background noises. Thank you, Dada. Please. You need to unmute you. Yes.
Yes. You can hear me now?
Yes, it's loud and clear.
Okay, that's good. My great respect to Bgrf for allowing me to speak this afternoon in Bangladesh and morning in London and also afternoon in India. And my greetings, my heartfelt greetings of the New Year of Bangla to you all, 1429. This is the month of Boishak. Therefore, my great respect and namaskar to you all on this new year. And we expect, we hope, all your very good life and very safe life in this year, prospective life in this year. The topic today is really very great and vast. Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. If I can put the context where we are now, the context is very complicated. As Dr. Datta has just a few minutes back told, that we are now in a burning pan. The world is now on a burning pan. War, different kinds of conflicts, disorders, disharmonies have baffled or perplexed our rationality, perplexed our mind, our intellect, as to how we can bring about welfare, how we can bring back the real peace which human beings really have to strive for. This Gita is Brahma Vidya. We have to admit first. Its vocabularies and implications are all centering around Brahman, the truth. Therefore, while we discuss Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, we have to concentrate our mind in such a way, in a meditative way, in a yogic way, in a very splendidly and clearly candid manner, so that we can understand karma and gyan perfectly. Now, being swayed by the material world, we are engulfed by our technology, our economics, our commerce, your international trade, and all types of diplomacy of division all throughout the world. In this chaotic context, it is really difficult to make a thorough understanding of karma and gyan or knowledge. We are facing dreadful consequences of environment due to the man-made disasters. We are facing melting of glaciers. We are facing wildfires, pandemics, and all these things nowadays, which really perplex our mind as to how can we get back peace again. We are busy on crisis coping every day. Every day we are coping crisis, personal crisis, community crisis, social crisis, national crisis, then international crisis. This way, we are really baffled. We have forgotten the greatest disaster of human quality, which has happened throughout these years. And this human quality has to be uplifted. That is why Gita is being discussed, and Bgrf has taken this grandstand in order to preach the main principles of Gita to the people at large. Humankind at large has been baffled, perplexed, and at a loss of what to do to bring the Gita peace again back to our life. And this morning, I was listening to a interview. That interview informed me that the technology is going to be inimical to ourselves, the artificial intelligence. I was talking a bit earlier with Dr. Datta, that it can make the whole world even vanished if it goes really handled by the wrong people. Therefore, we have to be careful and very particular in following our Gita principles of karma, because with karma, we begin our life. And when karma follows the principle of Shastras, that is called sadhananga. That is the organ of our meditation. That is one part of our meditation. When this sadhananga, or the part of meditation, is implemented in some occasions, then it is called sadharmanushthan, sadharmacharan. That is the following of one's own dharma. This sadharma is interpreted in Gita very elaborately by Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Anyway, when this karma can be done without any desire for material gains or returns, that is in Gita called karma yoga. Then the sense of ego goes away. It is easy to say, but it is very hard to implement in life. When the ego goes away, then the consciousness, the field of consciousness becomes blank. And there, the wisdom or the transcendental knowledge one starts peeping in. When that starts peeping in, then as with the sunrise, there is a big ring of red color just before the sun itself. The bhakti or the anurag towards the devotion of that devout man or woman to the God gets deeper and deeper as the transcendental knowledge peeps into the heart, peeps into the conscious heart. And that bhakti comes with jnana, and this jnana and bhakti, they work together in order to make the person or the agent work in such a way that every work is done for the cause of Brahman. It cannot go beyond the track of Brahman. That is how karma becomes a yajna. Yajna means yajna means sacrifice. I like to share the screen now. Do you see the screen? I have now
Yes, yes.
pointed out. Is it okay?
Yes, yes, it's clear, yes.
Okay. The knowledge and work in Gita, a synthesis and significance. Karma Yoga started with twofold path. In Sanskrit, it is Lokyoshmin Dividhanishta Puraprakta Mayanagho, etc. Twofold path of division was given by me means Sri Bhagavan, in the beginning of creation. The path of knowledge for the meditative and path of work for the active. So the two paths are here directed by Sri Krishna. One is knowledge, the another is work. Knowledge for the meditative ones and work for the actors in this mundane world. Therefore, those who will meditate, they will go for knowledge or jnana, and those who will work on their own in this mundane world, they will go for work. And Jnana Yoga integrated these two paths. In chapter 4, Karma and Gyan, as was proposed in chapter 3, these have been integrated properly in chapter 4. Gata Sangasya Muktasya Gyanavasthita Chetasya Jagaya Charata Karma Samagrang Praviliyate. Devoid of attachment, this is the definition of how a karma can make a man mukta or liberated. Devoid of attachment, liberated, with the mind centered in knowledge, performing work for jnana alone, his whole karma dissolves away. When the work of a particular person is devoid of attachment or desire of lust, or for any kind of return from his or her work, then he is liberated. And with mind centered in knowledge, that is the iconic part of the whole shloka, centered in knowledge, mind centered in knowledge. Mind should not be shuttered out from knowledge, the orbit of knowledge. And performing one of jnanas alone, his whole karma dissolves away. That is, Bhagavan says that. Hello? His whole karma, it becomes desireless and therefore acceptable to Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Now, real fusion of karma and knowledge happens in chapter 5, which is not the object of discussion today, but we have to refer to it because chapter 5 gives a real bridge between chapter 3 and 4. Ekam shankham cha yogam cha yah pashyati shapashyati. He who sees knowledge and performance of action as one is the real seer. Now, the question comes, why, how Shankho and Jogo, Jacha Pashyati Shapashyati, are the same. Shankham cha yogam cha. Karma yoga and jnana yoga are the same. How can it be? The simple thing is that when karma is devoid of desire, then it becomes a yajna. And yajna and is yajna, what is coming from outside?
I don't think it is from our end.
Is from outside?
No, I think it is from your end. Have a look. Maybe
Anyway.
there is some pointer you are using.
No, nothing. I'm
Okay,
not using
just carry on. I think yes, just carry on.
Yes, he who sees knowledge and performance of action as one is the real seer. Here, Sri Bhagavan said that once the knowledge and performance of action are seen by a person as the same thing, then he is the real seer. Why? Because the karma gets rid of any kind of return, and jnana is in him, so that he can be devoid of all kinds of desires and lust or any kind of return from his action. Then it becomes an yoga, and yoga is akin to knowledge. Therefore, they are the same. How work or karma evolved according to Gita. Gita says, karma brahmadbhavam vidhi brahma akshara samudbhavam, etc. Karma has risen from Brahman and Brahma from Akshara. Therefore, the all-pervading Brahma is ever centered in Jagga. When karma is Jagga, then the Brahma is there. That is when karma can be done without any attachment to our mundane world's wishes or expectations of returns or desires. Then the Brahman is seated over there. Jnana is stated to be synonymous with karma. Now, how do we do this karma? Now, chapter 18 explains that adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha prithak vidham vividhascha prithak cheshta daivan chaivatrash panchamam. The body, the agent, the various senses, different functions of a manifold kind, and the presiding divinity are the 5 causes of action. These are the instruments, the interdependent instruments which perform some work. Adhishthan means the body, the karta, the agent, the various senses are the sense organs, and different functions of manifold kind. We try in many ways by using these sense organs, and then presiding divinity at the doibo, which we have no control over. And karma has been divided into 3 types: karma, akarma, and bkarma in Gita, chapter 4, shloka 17. Akarma is not abandoning karma. Karma is the work according to our shastras, which are admitted by shastras, which are good or meant for welfare of the society, of the humankind. Akarma is work without desire, that is, with renunciation of all worldly attachments. And bikarma is work without abiding by the principles of shastras. So, karma is according to shastra, bikarma is against the shastras, and akarma is the only karma which is not the stopping of karma, but karma without any desire. That is the real renunciation of worldly attachments. Now, here is the key Gita principle, that to see karma in akarma and akarma in karma. Here is a point to discuss, because because the sense of doership is here the driver. Sense of doership is doership in karma and non-doership in karma really makes the difference. The doership, when there is a sense of doership that I do the karma, that is aham, it is karma. And when it is a non-doership sense, I am not doing, but nature is doing this karma, it is akarma. For a person whose actorship has disappeared, can see karma in a karma or the reverse, that is akarma in a karma. That is, the doership, the sense of doership of the karma is really responsible for making an action a karma or a akarma. The message is that we have to abandon the sense of doership when we perform any work. And where do karmas find an end? Gita says, Sarva karma khilam partha jnane parisamappate. Karma finds an end when it travels down to the ocean of knowledge. That is, karma ends up with knowledge. Therefore, karma and jnana, this action and knowledge, they go together. And when the full knowledge is there, that is, when the ocean is there, the karma disappears with knowledge. That is, dissolves with knowledge. As we find the rivers falling into the sea, all the rivers carrying different names from the hills, they come into the estuary and then falls into the sea. They lose their names, they lose their forms, they lose their velocities. They just end up with the sea of knowledge. That is how the karma enters the sea of knowledge. Therefore, the karma, which is devoid of all kinds of attachments, can only fall into the sea of knowledge. Other karmas get lost on the way. As we see that many rivers get lost on the way because they do not get much velocity from above and to meet the sea or ocean. Another example, Ganagni Sarvakarmani Bhashashat Kurute Tatha. Karma finds also an end when knowledge destroys this karma. As blazing fire reduces woods into ashes, so does the fire of knowledge reduce karma into ashes. That is, what does it burn really? Blazing fire, what does this blazing fire burn? They burn the unnecessary expectations, desires, lust, and all kinds of attachments to this mundane world. As long as the attachment will be there, jnana or knowledge will not be there in the agent. Blazing fire leaves all woods into ashes, the picture tells us. Now, Ganagni Dagdha Karmanam Tamahu Panditam Buddha. Here, Sri Bhagavan talks about the wise, talks about the, who is wise, whose actions are burnt by the fire of knowledge. Now, how actions are burnt? If actions are burnt, then what about the good actions? There is a question. Now, good actions are merged with knowledge. They no more appear as a separate action. They are jnana. The actions which have no desire, which is jaggo, is entrenched with or mixed with jnana, so that is not found separately, that is jnana. So when it is burned, the good actions or the actions according to Gita principle, I mean the desireless action, they become enmeshed with knowledge. And then the sages call him or her wise, because he has no separate action that can bind him again in order to suffer the pangs of all kinds of delivery, all kinds of rebirth, or all kinds of other mundane sufferings. So he or she is wise when her or his actions, I mean the desires, are burnt by the fire of knowledge. Now, here is some explanation. How does knowledge burn actions? Can you see the slides?
Yes, yes.
You can. Actions in general have unreal elements. We have unreal, because in our mundane world, we have unreal elements, of course. And these are desires for results, material returns, lust, etc. If we go for investing some money, we expect some return from that investment. And it is in the personal, in the communal, in the national, or in the international sphere. Everywhere, some returns are expected. But these returns are the desires. And knowledge destroys the unreal. When there is a knowledge, the power of Atman, here is the reference of Atman, because knowledge is the knowing of the Atman. When the Atma comes out, then it destroys the unreal. Unreal means all the desires, because the desire does not last long. Desire lasts for some time. And we know in economics that a particular demand can be satisfied. A particular demand, a desire, is satisfied on the spot and it vanishes. Again, another desire comes. So it is an unending process. Therefore, knowledge knows, the power of Atman knows that it is unreal. Therefore, knowledge destroys it. Don't expect that. When wise people, that is knowing the Atman, want to eliminate unreal elements, they lit the fire of knowledge that can burn them by practicing yogas, jaggas, and renunciation. Here is the point of renunciation, which Gyanojog tells very eloquently. We have to practice renunciation or jaggas. Jagga means the sacrifice. Every time we have to sacrifice our self-aggrandizement, selfishness, sense of ego, and all types of lust and expectation or returns from something. This knowledge is transcendental. The knowledge which one gets after abandoning this kind of desires, that knowledge is transcendental, beyond the three gunas, senses, and intellect. So this transcendental knowledge is pure enough to be so transparent that it can see the Atma inside. This knowledge transforms the person into an egoless one with internal and external equanimity and spiritual freedom. The agent becomes a free person because he has no binding. No one can bind him anymore or her anymore. What is the nature of knowledge? Nature of knowledge is, according to Gita, is transcendental, soaring above the limits of knowledge within three gunas. And Gita knowledge is not mundane, it is paragyana, the realization of the ultimate truth, knowing which nothing remains to be known anymore in the creation of its entirety. Therefore, that is the pure knowledge, the complete knowledge, Gita knowledge, that knows the Paramatman. And how does this knowledge develop with karma? We are doing karma, but knowledge is also developing. How do they simultaneously act upon? It develops with gradual elimination of ego. We cannot eliminate ego overnight. It is gradually eliminated and desire from karmas of all bindings of worldly superstitions and prejudices. All these things cannot be abandoned, cannot be eliminated overnight. It develops gradually. And that is the natural process of one person's being sadhu or honest or Jaggik or Mukta Kurmi. It takes time. It is a steadfast turning of the Asuric and the Rakshasic. The Asuric gunas, Raja and Tamagun, and Rakshasic gunas, the Tamo, these have to be turned into the divine nature. Asuric and Rakshasic nature, these have to be turned into divine nature. How it is possible? When the ego has gone, then the mental strength, the physical strength, the inner and outer elements of one agent becomes so strong that it sees the Atman, and therefore the real strength comes from within. So Asuric and Rakshasic nature, they flee away, and therefore the divine nature starts peeping in. It transcends the limits of phenomenal knowledge and gives power to listen to the inner voice of the self. Capital self, it is the Paramatman. Inner voice, the Paramatman, tells from inside the agent that one person or agent has to do something which do not expect any further return from his or her work. The way upward.
10 minutes, Dada. 10 minutes.
Yes, please. 10 minutes. Okay, I have only a few slides now.
Thank you.
The way upward from karma to knowledge, or jnana to jaggo, as per Gita. If we start from below, one, an ordinary person starts ordinary karma. It is the everyday business of everybody in this world. But the knowledge development starts from there. Whatever knowledge it is, however wrongful it is, it starts from our ordinary work. And when Adhishthan, Karta and Karma, Karan, as we found in chapter 18, these eject, I mean, Adhishthan, Karta and Karan ejected from ego and desire. This body, the sense of ego, and Karan means all kinds of sense organs. These are ejected from ego and desire. No ego and desire is there in the body, in the sense of aham, or in the sense organs. I mean, all the organs of the body, chakku, karna, nashika, jivha, tok, bakpad, payupana, upastho, etc. And also the mind and intellect, they also get ejected from ego and desire. The knowledge then becomes a bit denser from the ordinary, if we compare to the ordinary person. And then number 3, karma continues. Then also karma continues, but efforts are immune to results. All the efforts with this karma are immune to results. They do not care for results. Divinity works within. And then number 4, karma transformed into yajna. Then real sacrifice comes upon, and in the fourth phase, the real knowledge starts shining in the heart. And then, as we see in Bhakti Marga, the Gyanamishra or Gyanashunno karma, these start acting. So this way, from the ordinary status of karma, we can elevate ourselves into Jagga Karma, which is admired by Gita very much. This knowledge of Jnana, Jnana Jagga, this state is the state of sacrifice. This Jagga is the sacrifice, or Jnana Jagga. So it is a transformation process. Karma and Jnana virtually are interwoven yoga. The height reached by, the Gita says that the height reached by the Jnanis is also reached by the Karma Yogis. He who sees knowledge and action as one is the real seer, we found in chapter 5. Few complex issues of karma and jnana The dynamics of karma is highly impenetrable. Gahana karmana gati. I will explain it a bit, but very quickly because Dr. Datta has given me already some signal that time is running up. Then fundamentals of Shabhava, chapter 18, 41 to 47. Karmani pravibhaktani Shabhavam, Shabhava Prabhavat Gunoi, and implications of Shadharma. These three are very important components of how we transform karma, ordinary karma, mundane karma, into Jagga karma. These three are the complex elements which we have to tide over. That is the dynamics of karma. You have to know which karma is akarma, which karma is karma, which one is vikarma. And fundamentals of Shabhava, which Shabhava is responsible for which kind of karma. And Shadharma, what does it mean actually? And Sriyan Shadharma Biguna, if Shadharma is a bit lower in its performance, but still Gita says that you have to follow your Shadharma. We have to know what is Shadharma itself. Now, Gahana Karmana Goti, King Karma Kim Akarmani Kavayopi Atra Mohita. কেউ কেউ এই বিষয়ে বুঝমান হয়ে যায় যে কোনটা কর্ম কোনটা, which one is karma, which one is vikarma. Work is not what is seen outwardly. Gita says its inner hidden intention is to be considered before judging it. This is the science of nature of karma. Hidden intention, what is there? Examples are there. I am not citing those examples from our Puranas. The people who are present here today are all very literate and knowledgeable. Therefore, I don't reiterate those things. Work has an objective which justifies the status, whether it is karma or akarma or vikarma, according to the objective. If objective or target is the truth, then it must be akarma. No work does not mean workless. Gita says, work may still continue in mind than in bodily organs. Therefore, no work does not mean worklessness. Karmani prabhibhaktani shabhava prabhavar gunoi. This is a small explanation. Works of 4 castes have been defined according to the shabhava of each caste. This influences one's work most efficiently. This is one's essential character, separated broadly by 4 types in Gita. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. These are the 4 things divided for castes, divided according to the gunas, not according to the birthrights, but according to gunas. Even a Shudra can be a Brahmin by way of transforming karma into Jagga. This definition implies the need for a close relationship between one's work outside and nature of one's own instincts inside. What one is working outside and what the instincts are telling inside, the God and the nature of the individual being. It is the important thing because Gita wants that what you think instinctively, what you think from your very deep inside, you have to work according to that, not according to what your influence is there, what importation you have done from others, or what you imitate from others. This is not the objective of Gita. Gita harps her string on Shabhava a few times in chapter 18, because Shabhava is the realization or projection of one's inmost feeling and purely own aspirations, imagination, thoughts, which are essentially biological or instinctive, not imported or imitated from outside. Very strongly, it is advocated in Gita that one has to go Shabhava Prabhavar Gunoi, Shabhav, Prabhav, and Guna. And Sriyan Shadharma Biguna, this I have tried to explain. The Shadharma in Gita implies that our karma has to be in compliance with inner truth, not outer influence or outer, all kinds of attractions. It precludes any compromise with outside influence. The same thing almost. It has to be living expression and exact exuberance of our soul and its natural forces. It should be the soul force, natural force, It is not force drawn from outside. And Swadharma, even with a grain of salt, I mean, with some amount of fault in chapter 18, 47 and 48, allows one to live in oneness. That agent can live in oneness with God. And once true self perfected, one becomes a faultless instrument in the freedom of the immortal dharma. So Swadharma is also very much emphasized in Gita because it is one's own innermost call in order to do some work. Conclusion, I'm going to end my presentation. Conclusion is that karma, the yajna is inevitable. Karma and yajna are inseparable also. Inevitable because we have to work, and karma and yajna are inseparable also because once karma is desireless, then it becomes yajna. So they're inseparable or even identical. An ordinary karmi will transform him or herself into karma yogi gradually through renunciation, yajna or sacrifice. 12 yajnas have been referred in Gita, and there are many yajnas still, as heard in Brahman's mouth, as Gita has said. So there are 12 yajnas or even more than 12 yajnas which can teach people to renunciate or sacrifice the desires or any kind of alluring attractions. A karma yogi will then be endowed by the Brahman with transcendental knowledge. Chapter 10, Sloka 10, chapter 18, Sloka 57, chapter 2, Sloka 49, along with devotion for the Brahman while performing karma yoga. He is then a mukta karmi, a liberated karmi. Muktasya karma. That is the exact terminology of Gita. This mukta karmi will continue work for others to follow because he is the best worker. He or she becomes the forerunner of the society in order to lead the whole people, lot of people, towards God, towards the truth. Therefore, this mukta karmi will continue, that is the expectation of Gita, will continue work for others to follow, but remain free from any other bondage. And remain free from any bondage or rebirth. He will not come back again, and he will not be bound by any bondage. Therefore, these are the main synthesization of chapter 3 and 4, which we find that they are so aptly tuned in Gita, so perfectly orchestrated in Gita, that if we read 3 and 4 together, then we find the real meaning of our karma, which can be a mukta karma, or the karma dedicated to the cause of the ultimate truth. Thank you very much. I think the time is up, and therefore I don't like to kill your time anymore. Namaskar. My namaskar again to you all. If I have
Thank you, Dada. Thank you.
Please excuse me.
Thank you, Dada. It was, how I can say, the most inspiring, very thoughtful, most balanced, and very logically presented with lots of examples and evidences. What a great harmony between theories and practice. Let us have next 30 minutes, a serious debate, a lot of questions, submissions, and pointers from the audience. Now I'm going to start opening the floor for getting questions. I can see, before I get actually some questions from the audience, there is already some points, if I can read out for you, Dada. One question made by is from Rajiv Chakraborty. Now I'm going to read out a long-winded questions analyzing the performance of action leads to increase of knowledge, which is my understanding, the quote unquote. What I get from there is the performance or result of action needs to be analyzed if we want to improve ourselves. But at the same time, we need to ignore the result of those actions. Is that contradictory? If we are, If we are impartial to the results, what basis shall we analyze the actions so that we can improve? Or is that my understanding incorrect? From Rajiv Chakraborty. To you, Dada, if you can explain.
Yes. This Rajiv Chakraborty is from Australia, Melbourne. He is my son. I know him. He's a very critical.
Okay.
Yes, he's a very critical boy. He always finds faults with me when he finds any problem in my explanation. Yes, he has raised a question which we also should explain a bit. Before we perform the karma, we have to judge whether it has any desire for self-aggrandizement or self-satisfaction. If that is that, then we have to forego that. That is not the thing that we have to abandon that karma, but we have to perform that karma, but without the desire to get any return from that. That is what is expected out of Gita. Gita does not say that where the karma has one desire, has one return, then you just don't do it. It is not the thing, but you don't take it for your own self-aggrandizement. That is karma. If, for example, I give an example. If we have a karma, we are doing a project, for example. It is giving some return to the nation, to the community, to a particular person, etc. But if that result does not really come to my account, then it is a karma, no problem. Wherever it may go, it is jaggo, this karma is jaggo when it does not touch me, when its result does not touch me. That is not the thing that karma will not have any desire, return. Karma will return because every karma has its return, good or bad. But a good karma should be done, performed, and before that the judgment should be there that I am not the party to get the advantage of that karma or the result of that karma. I am not going to enjoy it. It is for the benefit, for the service of the ultimate truth, that is the divine. It is the divine karma. Am I clear, or you are not yet clear?
No, I think this makes sense. So it's the result. Result can be analyzed, but we should not feel the result, right?
That's right.
We should be detached from the result. The result can be analyzed, but we should be detached from the result.
For example, you are making a project. Your project will come up with some result, for example, a big industry. Now, it is not the expectation why you are doing that project, because you will be a partner of that organization so that you can get some profit.
Right.
But it is a karma you are doing still because although it will have some return, but you are doing it because you are trying to give some benefit out of it to other persons, not to yourself.
Gotcha. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Right. Got it.
Thank you. Mr. Chakraborty. I think there is at some point, and now, if I may request to everyone, if you'd like to ask any questions or add something or make some submission, please, if you can type via the chat box so that I can repeat it, or you can raise your hand so that you can ask the question directly to Mr. Chakraborty. Now, Professor Padmakali Banerjee made a comment, excellent presentation. I like the concept of instinctive choice as a life goal. What a nice wording. Professor Padmakali, thank you so much. Now, if you'd like to add something, Professor Padmakali, or ask anything, please. I know that you have the great vision and understanding and the great wisdom about the Vivekananda, and you are doing tremendous work and making huge contribution to the society. Professor Padmakali, if you'd like to add something or say something.
Thank you, Professor Datta. I could not, since I'm traveling, so I'm not switching on the video. So I can tell you that firstly, the presentation was so crystal clear. So I think my compliments for that. I'm really intrigued by the fact that when we make choices for, terminal values in life, I like this idea, which can be really researched about how instinctively you feel about a particular process or a value, which can become your life, goal. So
Yes.
I think if you want to kind of highlight that a little more for the rest of the people, like we have some incremental things that we do in the early life. Later in the, as we progress, what becomes our goal? So I think this instinctively, how do you kind of explain it a little more, maybe from the point of view of explanation from Gita?
Yes.
Thank you, Professor Padmakoli.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chakraborty, if you can just shed some lights, extra light.
Yes. Now, yes, I could follow her issue, but the direct answer is that is not there. Indirectly, it is that the instinctive thing is always the very transparent and what I should say, the transparent and true. Therefore,
So
this.
is it okay to add that there would be some compelling vision, which through our life experiences, you have instinctive understanding of your goals?
Yeah. Yeah, we have our practical experiences in life and all the anti and favorable circumstances which are occurring always in our life. But in that complex course, we have to keep our mind very strong and our intellect very direct and steadfast, so that we can make our judgment very properly, that our instinct is working still there. Because sometimes some event baffles my intellect, baffles my mind, then it is really difficult to have my instinct regained from myself. Therefore, we should be very strong and steadfast, quite being subservient to the ultimate truth. We have to be very strong that we perform our karma from the instinctive, stamina, or instinctive source, not from the outside influence. That is true. And I know your question is more deep, because sometimes the events and circumstances compel us to do something which where I do not find my instinct working in my agent or in my body, in my adhishtan. But in that case, we have to be very particular, and there is needed the sadhana, the meditation, where we can make this instinct very dazzling, very transparent, and very much present in us in every kind of event, whether it is favorable or unfavorable.
Thank you, Mr. Chakraborty. Professor Banerjee, thank you so much. I know that Professor Banerjee, the individual with really positivity, and her book is a positive vision, has received a huge attention in both sides of Atlantic. Professor Banerjee, I hope that looking for more intriguing questions from you and other additional thoughts. And I'm sure that this is important to have. Maybe purely an academic research to understand the role of the intuitive choice or instinctive choices. Now I can see there's some hand raised, at least one hand raised. If I can, I think, is it okay? It seems that it's gone, disappeared. A point from Dr. Sukanta Saha. Nice presentation. How to transform general Karmi into Mukta Karmi. So a general Karmi into Mukta Karmi, Mr. Chakraborty.
Yes, I have shown one figure, the way upward from karma to knowledge, or Jnana as per Gita. The Mukta Karmi is the stage 4. From stage 1, ordinary person starts working as we do every day in our life. We're facing crisis and we're coping crisis. And when this Adhishtan, Karta and Karan are devoid of ego and desire, then we pass the second stage. But it is difficult, I know. Making the figure is very easy, but to reach that stage of Adhishtan, Karta and Karan, devoid of ego and desire, this is really very hard. And one generation, one life may be elapsed, another life may be. And we have our transmigration of life in our Sanatana Dharma. So we can go for another life and try to make our Adhishtan, Karta and Karan to be ego and desire free. And then the third stage, still then when they are free from ego and desire, then still the karma continues. But efforts are immune to results. That is, divinity works within. These karmas still continues, but those efforts, this effort is the fourth instrument for doing the work. First is the Adhishtan, second is Karta, third is Karan, and fourth is this effort. When these efforts are immune to results, then divinity works within. And then at the fourth stage, karma transformed into yoga, and that is the mukta karmi. He is or she is the mukta karmi when the karma gets rid of all types of desires or lust or any kind of attachment to our self-aggrandizement or selfishness. So this is Jaggo, and this is sacrifice, which is called Gana Jaggo. This Gana Jaggo has been given the highest priority in Gita by Srimad Bhagavad Gita by Sri Krishna. Gyan is the best. Beyond Gyan, there is nothing to God. So he is a Gyani Karmi, and therefore this karma is Mukta Karma. Am I clear?
Thank you, Mr. Chakra. I think what is simple and the most coherent way you have explained the point. Dr. Sukanta Shah, I hope that is satisfied your expectation. Now, there may be a lot of questions from the audience. We still have 15 to 20 minutes. Maybe we can go up to 20 minutes. Dada, I have a pointer. I wanted to ask you whether the jhana and karma complementary each other, or maybe it is hierarchical, but it seems that you have responded to this. But my point to you is that, as you mentioned, the demand is increasing within this today's situation. I think my proposition or my understanding is that the demand increases means akarma increases. We are living in an era of the high degree of capitalism, where the consumerism is the prominent element of the people's choices. And as the consumerism and capital become the mantra of today's society, and hence akarma and the demands are becoming the heart of today's people's mindset. And my own, you see, what I have witnessed before 1990s under socialism, where the demand and the capital and consumer, the stimulus are fully contained by the societal ideology, means the government. And I have seen that people don't have too much demand because they see that there is no progression to the accumulation of capital or accumulation of consumer pleasure, that, and people seems to find less egoistic, more calm, more peaceful, more happiness. But we are living in capitalist society. It is not possible to have or go back to the past. Now, within that high consumerism and high capitalism, where everything seems chaotic and hegemonic, may I ask you to advise us at least 2 or 3 elements which can be practiced to make us more harmonic, more calmer, and more or less egoistic, please.
Yes, this is a very hard question. I know, but you also know the answers, I know, but it is difficult to implement. I can give some answers to your questions. In the socialistic society, you say that it is a regulated society, therefore the demand is regulated, the supply is regulated. Therefore, there is a control in the consumer side that even if I want more, I do not get it. That is one kind of control. That is a situation which Gita doesn't, of course, say. Gita does not say that other forces control your instincts. Gita says that your instincts should display the control over yourself, that you should not demand it anymore. That is the original principle of Gita. So the state regulation of consumerism, controlling consumerism, is not the real way to reach the Gita perfection. To reach the Gita perfection, we have to raise our own instincts and shabhavas and dharmas, I mean the performances, that naturally excludes all kinds of alluring attractions, self-aggrandizement, and all these things. How is this possible in this total consumerism, I mean, shaken world? It is almost impossible, seemingly. But here we require meditation. Here we require the concentration of self, I mean, individual self, and then joining it with the transcendental self, so that the voice comes from within, from the Jaggik, I mean, who receives all Jaggos. I am sacrificing, and it is being received by Jaggik or Sri Krishna or the Narayan himself. Therefore, when we sacrifice, that sacrifice is being received by the Jaggik, sorry, not Jaggik, but Jaggakarta, I mean Narayan or Sri Krishna himself. When he receives it, then he sends out the necessary power for the agent to exert, so that he does not get baffled or perplexed in the context of this high consumerism. We find that when a storm is running on, a very peaceful man sits under a tree without any fear or favor. And you may find magically that the tree does not fall upon his shoulder. The man saves his life, although the storm was there, breaking out all the buildings and houses into lashes. And this is how it is not a magic. It is the power of that transcendental power who transcends, who just sends out his own power to the individual agents in order to get controlled within his instincts, so that his sanjam, I mean his ascetic forces, his renunciation, power of renunciation, they can adjust with the increasing diversity of demand and dwarf them down to the size that can only meet his both ends. And here is the requirement for the control of mind, control of body, control of intellect, control of all the sense organs, everything. Therefore, once in the beginning, I tried to understand as to how Avidya and Brahmavidya are different. Avidya is this consumerism, and Brahmavidya is not the consumerism. It is the ism that only embraces God's blessings, God's voice in one's life. And it is possible when one gets concentrated in his mind or her mind in order to get the blessings from him. There is no way out in this humdrum and din and bustle of consumerism nowadays in the society. The only way is to stay calm, is to stay at the feet of Sri Bhagavan, to stay peaceful in one's own heart, stay very steadily in his own instincts, in his own shabhava, and then do the karma. Then that karma should not go leaving the track set by this Bhagavad Gita. That is what I understand, because that is the magic that can save us from this turmoil. This is quite a turmoil, big storm which is running on now in the whole world, this consumerism.
Thank you, Dada. Well explained. Now we have still around 9 minutes. Is there any pointer from the audience? I know that there are some people. Anyone would like to ask anything or add something, please?
Yes, I found the Dr. Moina Talukdar from Dhaka University. He is the chairman. She is the chairman of the Department of Sanskrit in Dhaka University.
Oh, what a great pleasure. Professor Talukdar, welcome to this the event, and we are so pleased to having you with us. Please, we are always talking about Sanskrit and all these things. Please, if you like to add something, we'll be so happy to see that.
If she is there, I don't know. I found her name somewhere.
Yeah,
on
I
the screen.
just saw that. Yes, maybe. Yes, please, if you can unmute your system and say something. Dr. Moina Talukdar, this is to you. If you can unmute your audio, please.
Yes, she is the chairman of Sanskrit department, Dhaka University.
Yes, it seems that we can't hear you. You need to unmute, please. You need to unmute. Yes, please.
Yes, namaskar, namaskar,
Namaskar,
namaskar. Namaskar. I'm a Dr. Moina Talukdar, but now I'm in exam hall.
Oh, I'm so
I
sorry.
see.
I'm
I
so
see.
sorry.
Exam. I didn't talk to you but after later, or I want to talk with you.
No,
Okay.
no problem. No problem.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay,
Thank you so
okay,
much.
okay.
Very kind of
Thank
you.
you so
Thank you, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think our life is becoming too busy nowadays, doing many things at a time. Thank you, Professor Talukdar.
Thank you.
Please, if
Thank
there
you.
is
Nice
any
to
other
meet
question.
you. Nice
you,
to
sir.
meet you. Next time I will talk. I want to talk with you
Definitely.
because
Definitely.
Dada Nityananda Chakraborty is one of the best mentor and also my dear brother, big brother.
And I can say little secret that he has been talking loudly about you many times to me.
Yeah.
He talked about you many times to me.
This is my pleasure.
Thank you, Professor Talukdar, that you have taken time and trouble to join with us, and it is a great pleasure for all of us. And I'm sure that we'll be looking for next time. The world is becoming too small, and our path will cross somewhere, sometimes. Thank you, thank you so much. Now, just looking another few minutes. Is there any questions, please? Otherwise, I'm going to wrap up the session before I can hand over finally to Santosh Sarkar to conclude this session. Now, what I can say, thank you, Professor Mr. Chakraborty, for what a fascinating, because it is a complex subject. When we are talking about the religion bringing into someone's life, it is not so easy to break it down, make it the simple, most holistic, so that people understand the way they're expecting to understand. And I'm so pleased that you have done it very simple way, the most logical manner and most coherent way. And it was really good understanding. The key message is that the world may become highly capitalist or more hegemonic or more chaotic or more hostile, even super duper uncertain. But this is we, the individual, should become the atomic power within them and create the right harmony, create the right stability, to create the right stimulus so that we can contain us to do something without having any high priority of greediness or any result orientation, because result will follow if we do things the right way. Harmony, right karma, Brahma Vidya, and these are the key themes from today within this discussion. And I hope that the world we are living in will be able to at least apply to some extent the degree of those elements. And that's the message. The Bhagavad Gita Research Foundation strongly believes that each and everyone within the society must play their role, and that should be the wider implications that the people who are able, who understand and has the ability to produce the right wisdom for the actions must come forward and make contribution or give back something to the society. And same time, we believe that people must have the concerted effort so that there is no elements of harm. There is no the elements of the violation of harmony or bringing the disharmony within the society. So therefore, we all should take the right precautions so that everything can be flown towards the right directions. Thank you so much. From me, on behalf of the Bhagavad Gita Research Foundations, to Mr. Nityananda Chakraborty for your enlightened discourse, most simplistic way to explain the way we would like to understand. And also the audience who participated today, joined today, even with their busy schedule. It's a Sunday when they're supposed to be relaxing, spending time with their families, and they are here following us. We are following them. That's the great harmony and interaction and virtual mingling of intellectual discourse. My special gratitude to all of you. Now I would like to invite Santosh Sarkar to conclude the event. That's all. Thank you. Santosh Sarkar, please.
And yes, namaskar to everybody. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, clear.
Okay. We just swim over the time, and we fully enjoyed a beautiful presentation and make some points to be clear to everyone. Is not enough. Definitely, we'll be more listening to Chakraborty Mahashoy, Dada, and I am very, very much grateful to. I can see many new people join with us with much of interest. Srirup Kumar. I don't know where the person is, but we are much privileged to see this person. Shyamol Das, Dr. Shyamol Das, he's the president of Bhagavad Gita Research Foundation, New Zealand. And he's the associated dean in the Otago University in New Zealand. We are much obliged to him. And I can see Miss Pradumna Rai. She's with us today. We are much grateful. Chanchal Mohanto I know he's from Bangladesh and Nilphamari. And Dr. Sukanto Saha is a food and nutrition scientist, and one of the, to my knowledge, he's one of the big researcher, good researcher of this tenets and teachings of Bhagavad Gita and different elements, and he always make me clear. And so I'm grateful to all of them, and I'm not taking more time. So thank you for joining of this esteemed symposium. The name HELP is emerged from Bhagavad Gita Research Foundation. And thank you for your busy schedule to join with us, leaving your schedule to join with us Sunday. In many countries, this is a working day, and though England, Australia as the weekends. So my heartfelt congratulations to all of you, my gratitude to all of you, my namaskar to all of you. With these few words, I want to, if nobody is there to say something, are you here, anybody to say something? I think no. Dada, I'm not listening to you.
You just conclude, Dada. Just conclude the event.
Yes. A few questions came, and Dr. Dotto tried to raise these questions, and Nityananda Chakraborty, he cleared the session. He cleared the questions and so on. And we must appreciate Rajiv Chakraborty is Dada's son. We are much inspiring to you, Rajiv, and we have been listening about you. But anyway, we have to finish this one, and I think, Dr. Dotto, this is the end of the symposium for the day.
I think.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Namaskar, bye bye everyone.
Namaskar, namaskar.
Enjoy
Bye,
the
everyone.
rest of the day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Namaskar. Thank you.
Thank you so much.